Hello everyone, and welcome back to episode 8 of our Aksum campaign. Recently, we held Udaman against some rebel forces, which was quite easy. And right off the goddamn bat, Gumshoe, our magus, is being inspected by Hayu here, who is waving around a dagger quite vigorously. And he has critically deceived Gumshoe. And I guess now Gumshoe is just so dumbfounded, he can't move. He's sitting in his tent, just like, I don't even know what to do. I've been so tricked by this motherfucker that I don't even know what to do as my next move. Aside from maybe study a little bit. He's gained a rank, and that has allowed him to, I don't know, look into pessimism. He's going to start writing some mystery novels, like Agatha Christie. He's going to become the Agatha Christie of 398 AD, of the end of the 4th century. Let's see, we can put some points into pessimism, which does not seem very necessary. I think mystery would be good, so we can actually distract some agents, such as Hayu here, who is going to just annoy me till the ends of the earth, and then, of course, we'll put a point into imposition. Which is great. We can put a point into that for no fucking reason, I guess, and then we can just move on to the discovery of Hayu. Of course we know that we've discovered him. Something else we've discovered, like that segue there, just very fucking smooth. We've seen the desert snakes yet again. They are on the high seas, and they are very near mutiny. Well, they're at 24% integrity, which is questionable, although they are only losing -1 per turn, so it's going to be 25 turns until they mutiny, although we could sail out if necessary and attack them with Letem here with his very own questionable fleet, and we could try to sink a ship or two and then scamper away, which, you know what, we may as well do. I don't think the Molten Waves are going to be doing much of anything, really. They do have some, is it Liburnians that allow us to ram? I can't quite recall. I don't think we actually have any ramming ships, but we do have an artillery Liburnian, which would be very effective against those transports. So maybe if we get one more of those, we can afford it, I think. Yes, 250 gold per turn. We can build 2 of those, sail out. Actually, you know what? I don't think we're going to do that because I believe the desert snakes are going to be landing very soon. So, you know, what we will do is we'll sail towards the aforementioned desert snakes. Snakes of the desert. I don't know what kind of snakes they are. Maybe they're coral snakes. I don't know. Black adders. God, I don't know. Maybe it's Rowan Atkinson out in the fucking desert. I just realized the symbol of our navy is a horse, and I don't think we really want that. Instead, rather, I think we want, I don't know, any of these is probably fine. They're all pretty samey in a way. I think we'll just go with this, like, palm frond or whatever the hell it is. Yeah, we'll just go with that. It looks nice. It looks nice and golden. The Seekers of the Shore. I don't know about the name, Seekers of the Shore. I don't know. Do you guys have a better name? I'm not sure. How about Children of the Sun? Do you have a better name than Children of the Sun? Because I sure as hell do not, so we're just going to leave that for now. As for buildings in Udaman, we're building a military port so that we may build some larger ships, a Dromenarian galley, a Liburnian galley, and also Dromenarian skirmishers. Just different ships, I guess. We could upgrade our fields. Again, not really necessary. We have a huge amount of food. Our public order is through the frickin' roof. Religious differences is dropping by the turn. Military crackdown, presence, and characters is accounting for a huge amount of public order gained per turn, whereas in Ethiopia we are continuing to lose 6 public order per turn, mostly due to instability as well as religious differences, but that's something that we can easily overcome. And now we have the population growth to upgrade Adulis, and we shall not do. We're going to save up for Aksum proper, which is going to be many turns away, as our growth is so fucking slow and meager. As for buildings in Ethiopia itself, not much to build, and I think we've got a few turns here. 2 turns, yes, until our men are fully replenished, and then we can, I don't know, decide to march out. I think we may as well capture Zafar right off the bat, because the reward for attacking the Himyarites are, well, it's 1,000 gold, which we could save by standing down a lot of these forces, because we won't need them once the Himyarites are done with. So what we could do is we'll keep an eye on these desert snakes up here. We'll harass them. Once our army is strong, we will either take them out in the field or march on Zafar. But I think now it is time to end the turn and move into the spring of 399 AD, potentially, I think. Here we go. Okay, I don't fucking believe it. This is ridiculous. Gumshoe has been deceived yet again. He's been tricked by Hayu. Maybe he's sending him, like, I don't know, notes with all sorts of cryptic messages, and he goes into an alleyway because he thinks he's gonna get some, like, sweet vagina, and in actual fact, it's like a midget or something that punches him in the dick. I don't know. He's been deceived, is what I'm saying. And I don't know. It reminds me of that good old George Bush quote, and it went something like this, I think. There's an old saying in Texas, maybe Tennessee. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, can't get fooled again. Which I think should be applicable in this situation. How do you keep getting deceived, Gumshoe? How?
It's an honor to serve you.
How? I don't know. Anyway, our Imperium has increased for some ungodly reason. I don't know. It is unknown to me. Nothing has changed. And we've also... Oh my. Eon Bissianaf has gained a household member, I suppose. One by the name of Chief Eunuch, which, I don't know, seems right up his goddamn alley, I tell you that right now. Chief Eunuch, tax rate, great. And research. That seems like that would be something to give to our son. If we were to find him, here he is. We can give him this Chief Eunuch, which would lower our public order by 5, but I don't think that will be an issue once the instability disappears. We've also gained a bejeweled mincer. I don't know what a mincer is, first of all, but whoever he is, he's bejeweled, which will increase research rate, which is pretty redundant considering our Chief Eunuch pretty much does the exact same fucking thing. Anyway, we have developed trade customs, which is perhaps why our Imperium has gone up. Someone, maybe in the Eastern Roman Empire, has heard of our caravan lodge house technology, and they said, oh shit, move these guys up. We gotta move them from list A to list B, because fuck, they are getting to be extremely advanced. It's nuts. Hayu has been discovered, as we know. Mercenary influx as well. For some, again, we have an unknown reason of mercenary influx. So what this has allowed us to do is basically replenish huge amounts of mercenaries. We now have a huge pool to recruit from, which is not too bad, because we could use some of these units, for example, in Onager, to capture Zafar. Speaking of Zafar, whoops, that's real professional. Anyway, the desert snakes have landed. Where they've gone, nobody knows. Round and round it spins. Where it stops at the Lords of War, who are really annoying me because they are blocking our replenishment, so we are still waiting for our Afar swordsmen to replenish, which is not such an issue because we can replace them with mercenary desert legionary defectors. Wow, what a mouthful. But we don't really need sword infantry. I think what we will do is march out to Zafar, and when the time comes, we can build, or recruit, I should say, a mercenary onager, which will allow us to breach the walls very easily. We're going to hold on to our gold right now, for now, I should say, so that we may get that onager, so that we can easily capture the city. But as for where the desert snakes are, they landed, and they're probably somewhere around this desolate region in Arabia Magna. I don't have a spy to determine that for me. I don't think... Maybe in Aksum... No, we can only get priests, because we don't have any trade markets, or... trade markets, as opposed to, I don't know, non-trade markets, like, where you just go and look at other people's stuff, but you don't actually pay them, you just kind of look at it. It's like a museum market. I don't know, that doesn't exist. If it does, that's really odd. Anyway, we may as well, again, end our turn. We don't really have to be too conscious of the seasons right now, aside from summer, I suppose, but we are in our very own region, and that shall not be an issue. But we need to find the desert snakes, buy a fucking catapult, and take out Zafar. Here we go. Okay, it appears that Nazul has followed in his big brother's footsteps, and he too has fathered an illegitimate son by the name of Gersum. Again, just a really underwhelming name. Dill and Gersum. Although it appears that Dill is not actually that bad of a name. There was a comment by, I believe it was Omar, who said that Dill means heart, which is actually not too bad. Not too bad. And you know what I kind of realized about Nazul? It reminds me of fucking Ghostbusters. There is no Dana, only Nazul. That is what... that's what he says as he courts the women in his harem, and then all of a sudden he's fathered Gersum, I guess. Nazul is still the retainer of Eon Bissi, and he has gained a level, so we're going to put a point into administration so that he will eventually be able to, as I said, administer / govern a province. We'll give him also fucking nothing. He doesn't need any household. So we'll just leave him as is. Now, it appears that the Himyarites have tried to misdirect good old Eon Bissi and Af. Hayu tried and failed. And also Yatha tried and failed as well. And now Gumshoe can finally get back on the path. Maybe distract or manipulate these guys. It's not even really worth it because he'll only stop them. He won't actually, you know, take them out or anything. He won't take them out to the ball game, so we're not going to bother. But as for where the desert snakes have gone, could not tell you. They're still somewhere in the fog of war. And I think, I very sincerely think what we could do is just kind of camp outside of Zafar. Here we go. We can even begin to raid. Perhaps, actually no, that's not a great idea because they'll come out of the fog of war and they'll totally fuck us up. We don't want to stand outside Zafar because then the garrison will reinforce, yada yada yada. There's only 4 units, which is not a big deal. What I would very much like to do is hire the catapult. That's it. You know what? We'll just fucking do it. We'll hire the catapult for 800 gold. But at the same time, we can hold off for like 3 turns and then we'll get 1,000 gold. So, fuck. I was very gung-ho about, you know, capturing Zafar right away. But I think we'll just go and try to knock out the Lords of War. The Desert Snakes will probably try and come and reinforce, but I think we can take them in the field. The Desert Snakes' integrity is just like in the absolute shitter. So that's just fine. Our public order as well in Aksum, Ethiopia, whatever, is also slowly slipping around the drain, slowly just kind of squeeching its way down towards the eternal darkness. I don't know what squeeching is, but I'm not too concerned with it either. Anyway, we may as well end our turn. Next turn, we will go and attack the Lords of War. The Desert Snakes will probably come around and try to screw us in the bumhole. From the rear, that is, and I guess we'll have to contend with that if that's the case. And then we can wait a couple turns, get a catapult, capture Zafar in 1 turn, and also we'll be at war with the Himyarites, completing that objective, yada yada, gaining 1,000 gold. Somewhere down the line, we bang some bitches, and also just earn just dirt nasty money. Fuck. Ironically enough, the Lords of War, who you would think would be very gung-ho to go, I don't know, head first into our massive army, well, they've retreated, and now they are pussyfooting around the coast of, I don't know, Mecca, whatever this region is called, I don't know. There's no way to find the name. I cannot find it. And unfortunately, we cannot pursue because Hayu has actually been successful in misdirecting our army. He gave us some false maps, whilst Yatha, well, he gave us the same maps, and we kind of put 2 and 2 together and said, hang on, only one of these can be right. And then, well, we chose the one that ended up being wrong anyway, which is, I don't know, it's very embarrassing for us. But the fact of the matter is, the Lords of War have retreated. We can now continue our replenishment, so I would very much like Eon Bisyanaf and his entire desert army to continue on towards Zafar, who is now, well, I shouldn't say who is, because it's not a person, which has now been garrisoned by the king. Is that the king? Hassan? Moody or Hassan? I cannot, neither of them are the king. Let's see. Let's do some diplomacy with Himyar. No, the king is Amru, who is culturally intolerant because he's a big dickhead. I don't know where he is. He must be a governor or whatever. But we will, in 2 turns, besiege the city and just totally starve the desert snakes out. It'll be great. Lots of fun. Bring your friends. BYOB. Yatha has been discovered as well. We need some serious anti-spy agents, but we don't have any. Some sort of, like, solutions. I don't know. Anyway, I don't really know what I'm saying. The military jetties in Udaman have been completed. So now we can grab our fleet and send it to the very cusp of the Sea of Mare Indicum, which I suppose means Indian Sea or something. And now we can recruit all sorts of fucking ships. We can get some slinger ships, some bow ships, neither of which we have. We can also grab a Liburnian galley, which is slightly larger than our current galley. We can also get a Dromanarian galley. That's what we have already. So we've got... Wait a fucking minute. We've got 2 galleys. Okay, one is Eastern Light Bowmen, and one is Desert Corsairs. Desert Heavy Corsairs. Man, we can get all sorts of ships. None of it is really relevant right now, because there's not really any opposition for us at sea, apart from the Sassanid Persians, who are just kind of kicking around with some units. I think this is a navy, and then they've got some armies that have been and possibly will... Oh shit, look at this. It's Bahram himself with his big old turban type thing. I'm not really sure what this is, and a very pretty shield, though. His sombrero shield is 10 times as pretty as mine. I am jealous. I must say, I am hugely jealous. We also have a matter of state in the form of hidden treasure. And the subject is Usanas. We found a large hoard of gold hidden in a cave whilst mining. What should we do with it? Engage in faction politics. We shall engage in faction politics and deal with Usanas, who must be the owner of the mine. And he looks like a very untrustworthy person. And we can ignore the issue. Do not trouble yourself. We'll look after this ourselves. I said he's not a trustworthy guy, so I'm not going to let him do that. We could give it to the people, which is, holy shit, that's going to make people really happy with us. 100%. We can be like a leader of the people, and that would be great. Or we could give it to the army, which could alleviate the army's cost for some while yet, and pay for some mercenaries too, I wager. So we can reduce upkeep costs, I would assume, and also get some buffs towards mercenaries. We're not really worried about that, so I think we'll give it to the people, possibly for some public order bonuses. That would be great. Here we go. Alright, so I'm gonna wrap it up now, I think, everyone. What we're going to do is wait a turn or 2. We're gonna put Eon Bissi on the border. He will grab a catapult when we have completed our objective, march on Zafar. Hopefully, well, we could always just wait and starve them out, or we could assault them with the catapult. I think now that the desert snakes are actually in Zafar itself, we can starve them out, especially with the integrity penalties they have. And I don't want to pay for the upkeep of the catapult if that's the case. So we could just avoid that outright. Once the army has moved in, I think that's that's the course of action. We'll starve them out, as now there is an army in the city. Meanwhile, I think Letem will move back to... Well, he can kick around in Udaman, actually, because that's the place to be for ships, and we don't have to be any particular place to, defend against sea attacks. Not at this particular moment. We could build some upgrades in Aksum to increase our tax revenue, our trade revenue. Speaking of, we can trade with... Well, we can attempt to trade with no one because everyone still hates us. But that's not entirely necessary because I would rather hold on to that cash to ensure that our assault on Zafar goes swimmingly, and then after that we can kind of consolidate our buildings, etc., because we will not be at war with anyone for a few turns after we capture Zafar. Maybe we can look at settling this region in Arabia Magna. That's a possibility. But anyway, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Not a lot happened. It was really just most of the administrative stuff. But we are kind of setting up the future attacks on either the Lords of War or the Desert Snakes in Zafar and the Himyarites in general. So, I hope you enjoyed that strategy, and I shall see you guys next episode of our Total War Attila Axum campaign.